Hello everyone and welcome to the Soviet Union. As we all know, President Gorbachev came to power last year and decided to make positive changes with Perestroika and the other two that no one can remember, and so the Soviet Union has opened up, and so I've come to visit here. Obviously I'm by myself, but I've got my VHS Camcorder and I devised a clever idea of filming myself. So I'm actually holding the camera and recording myself. Can you believe that? So I'm doing a little tour of the Soviet Union, and at the moment I'm in the city of Sverdlovsk in the Urals. Now the city used to be called Yekaterinburg, and then in the 1920s when the Bolsheviks came to power they changed the name. The only problem with my method of recording myself is that it's a bit difficult to walk because obviously I'm holding the big camera with two hands. I could try holding it with one hand, but it's a bit heavy, but if it's not too shaky I could try that. Wow, one hand even. That's even more rad. That there is the factory of heavy machinery. So if you're wondering why there's not that many people around, it's because everybody's working at the factory and everywhere else, because the Soviet Union is very proud of the fact that there's no unemployment here, and so everybody is entitled and expected to work. Look at that, I just came across some rather groovy propaganda street art there. You can see there it's got the map of the Soviet Union and then different peoples from the different republics as well. Metro systems can be found all over this vast land, from Kiev in the west to Tashkent in the far south, and even Novosibirsk in the far east. And Sverdlovsk also has its own metro system. One thing I love about these Soviet metro systems is their smell. They smell different from other metro systems in other countries. I don't know why that is. They just do. Wow, look at this, they've got high-tech ticket machines here. You get a little token like this, quite why it says Moscow Metro, I don't know, when we're in Sverdlovsk, and you just put it in the high-tech machine like this and then it lets you through. Oh, you see, like that. Quite a nice metro station, not as flamboyant as the ones in Moscow or Leningrad obviously. So the station is named in honour of the workers from the local factory. This station's quite nice as well. It's named after Soviet cosmonauts. How things are now must be a little bit like how things were after Stalin's death, and when Khrushchev came and there was a real period whereby things liberalised. I left my tripod at home because it's a bit awkward to carry. See in the background there the Cosmos cinema, just had a recent renovation. It says they're People's Artists of the USSR, and it's also got it written in another language which I take to be either Belarusian or Ukrainian. And this is one of the great things about the USSR. Everyone gets on so well with one another. The Armenians and Azerbaijanis are great friends. You know, the Russians and Ukrainians and Georgians are all brothers. It's like one big happy family here. This is the theatre for young spectators. Those to do for young people in the cities all over the USSR. And you see there in the distance they're building some new housing as well to try to meet the project for the year 2000, whereby every family has their own home. They're advertising some of the plays that you can see at the theatre here. That's a play based on the well-known Soviet children's story about the perils of wasting time. You'd be amazed at how green the cities are in the Soviet Union. I mentioned earlier that everyone has the right to work, and everyone also has the right to rest. Soviet citizens are expected to keep themselves in good physical shape. Obviously these days there's a newfound friendship and goodwill with the United States and the West. But in the not too distant past it wasn't so good, and Soviet citizens were expected to keep themselves in good physical shape for the inevitable invasion by the capitalists. You see, it's been shown that when both sides wish to embark on a good relationship with each other, well then it's absolutely possible. After decades of mistrust, the Cold War has finally come to an end, and the world can breathe a deep sigh of relief. One misconception in the West about the USSR is that there's no churches, but actually there's loads of churches, but they just don't operate as churches because it's an atheist state. So famously a lot of the churches did get destroyed in the 1930s to make way for new architecture, but that was only for that reason. The ones that weren't getting in the way stayed there and became more useful things like schools and museums. The one behind me is now a museum. Here is a statue paying homage to the Communist Youth League. I'm on the high street now. I might do a bit of shopping, but first of all I'll probably just grab a quick coffee. Before, of course, in the USSR, like in all the communist countries, everything was state-run. However, since Gorbachev came to power, there's now some free enterprise allowed, and there's little business schemes called cooperatives where people can own little cafes, which are quite popular, or even bars now as well. So for the Yuppies, they've got places to hang out. Not there's many Yuppies in the USSR just yet. Although the food quality is still questionable in the USSR, you can get a good coffee these days. Also, it's the fashion these days to play Western music, which was denied to Soviet citizens for so long. Don't know if you can hear it or not. So in this shop you can buy goods with your hard currency. In the USSR they've got two currencies, the soft currency that citizens use, and then the hard currency that visitors use. You can use the other one if you want for buying little things like an ice cream in the park or something, but you don't want many of the local soft currency because it's unconvertible, you can't change it back. So, good choice of souvenirs, presents that I can bring back for people. So there's a very nice lady that's working in the shop here, so maybe I can ask her some questions. Скажите, пожалуйста, как вас жизнь в Советском Союзе?
Квартиру я получила, на работе я работала, зарплату нам всегда вовремя давали. В отпуск я ездила с ребенком через месяц, через год. Через год. А так, хорошо жили.
Да. И как жизнь после перестройки? Это одинаковые или разные?
Было очень тяжело, когда началась перестройка. Плату задерживали, продуктов было очень мало. Вот. Вещей, одежды тоже было мало. Было тяжело. Сейчас как раз сижу, читаю книгу о Сталине. Ну,
Это интересно?
интересно. Интересно.
Да.
Он был умный, деловой и жесткий.
Ага, да.
Жесткий. Потом пошел Хрущев, который был, можно так сказать, пофигист. Крым отдал, хочу подарю туда, хочу подарю сюда. Вот такой вот был это. Раскидывать все, гораздо был. Я на заводе работала.
Да.
Хорошая работа была. Чисто женская. Я не на станке стояла, что мужчины работали за станком, там токарь, фрезеровщик или еще кто-то такой вот. А это была чисто женская работа. Поэтому можно было посидеть, можно было походить, можно было чай попить. Немножко так вот свободное время было. И не тяжелое.
Спасибо большое. Да, спасибо. That is the statue of Sverdlov, who the city is named after. And that's the regional university in the background there. The Soviets are very proud of the fact that their education system's so good. You know, in these cities there wasn't even any universities, even in big cities like this, until the Soviets came to power. There's a very good tram system in the city as well. It covers the whole city, and that's saying something because it's very big and very spread out. It's a great way to get around the city and see the city as well. This is a nice green area of the city I'm staying in. Once upon a time, Westerners all had to stay in state-run Soviet hotels, which not really necessarily up to Western standards always. So I decided to stay in a homestay, which Interists now offer. This here is like a typical housing blocks, and rather odd things going on, like 2 radiators on the hall wall and a rather interesting window there. Here's a young family and the young man that lives here. He's a bit of a yuppie, so he's got his stylish Mac there. And of course the Soviet Union, particularly Soviet Russia, where I am being so cold, everyone's got plenty of hats. The lady of the home I'm staying in, like any Soviet woman, has got a huge collection of clothes here for the very latest fashion. Since Perestroika, it's made it a lot easier to import goods from the West. But obviously most of the things still Soviet-made products. The Soviet Union is one of the best places in the world to get caviar. The Soviets claim to be the most well-read nation on earth. And if you go to any home, you see lots of books. Here as well we can see Lenin and their dear comrade Brezhnev, who departed us 4 years ago. You know, the room's kind of basic, but everything you need, and in true Russian style. Got the carpet on the wall, of course. That is a bodacious lampshade, man. I've got a TV in my room, so that's nice if I want to watch anything. Nice wardrobe there where I can hang my clothes, and that's my suitcase on top. Lots of nice little knickknacks in the house, like this thing here, book with pictures, this year's calendar. Actually, why don't I show you some of the souvenirs I picked up along the way. This is a postcard set of the Interest hotels you can stay at in Moscow. Also from Moscow, rather curious 3D card here, kind of nice. Next year's calendar is out already. It contains some really nice large photographs from all around the country. Here you've got the Lithuanian Soviet Socialist Republic, the Azerbaijani SSR, and the Ukrainian SSR, etc. badge collecting is all the rage, of course, at the moment, and there's plenty of those in the USSR as well. In Soviet Russia, they love collecting fridge magnets, and you can get one as a little souvenir from every city you go to. And look at that, you can even pick up your own little mini Lenin statue as well. This is a nice handmade wooden box that I picked up. Also in Chelyabinsk, I picked up a rather nice book of the city with lots of big pictures like this, and the good thing is it's in English as well. And as you can see from the date, just this year, hot off the press. A little souvenir here from the city of Kazan. You can see the city name there written in 5 different languages with all the sites of the city as well. Something rather groovy here, statue of Karl Marx on the front, and it's a box. Any idea what might be inside the box? Well, let's find out, shall we? Something useful that all kids love. Yeah, lots of colouring pencils there, and you can even stand it up as well like that. This is the fridge here. The family apologised that it's not very full because there's food shortages in the USSR at the moment. I guess the empty shelves and the long queues are something that's slightly undermining the Gorbachev regime and something he's going to have to look to address. A nice photo there from a recent family holiday by the looks of it. The family said that I can wash my clothes at some point as well if I need to. I might just sit there in the armchair and unwind a bit before bed. Plenty of magazines I can read. Okay then, so that's a day in the Soviet Union. Hope you found it interesting. I'll get it put onto a VHS tape and sent off to you in the post. Okay, bye for now.